issue relating to the Batticaloa airport. To make it, you have already declared it as an international airport, but there is an issue relating to the runway. So that the runway extension, whatever facilities available, has to be undertaken. And that, how we have done in Palali, to also try and improve the runway in Batticaloa and make international flights available to Batticaloa. While dealing with this important debate, I would like to invite the attention of the Honourable Minister to the financial position of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. When you look at the income that have been generated, now I read from the income report that have been submitted to us. Now there is a significant improvement compared to the past 4 years in income generation by the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. Similarly, in all the areas, Mulu Adayama, Nauka, Bahalum Hasrivi, වාප්පු මෙහෙයුම් ඒ වගේම වෙනත් ආදායම් මෙනි හැම දෙයක්ම විශාල ගාණකින් මේ ගිය අවුරුද්දේ වැඩිවීමක් පෙන්වුම් කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒත් එක්කම තව කාරණාවකුත් ඊට පල්ලෙහා තියෙනවා. විදේශයන්ට හෝ රජයට ඇති නොපියවූ ණය. දැන් ඒකෙත් මේකට හාස්පසින්ම වෙනස්ව 2018 ඉඳලා 2021 වෙනකන් තිබුණු ණය සංචිතයේ අඩුවීමක් වීගෙන එනවා. නමුත් 2022 වෙනකොට ඒක බිලියන 35000කින් වැඩි වෙලා තිබෙනවා. මේක තමයි මේකේ තියෙන අවදානම් තත්ත්වේ. නෑ ඔබතුමා මේ පිළිතුරු කතා කරනකොට ඒක කියන්නේ බිලියන 35කින් වැඩි වෙලා තියෙනවා ගිය අවුරුද්ද මේ 2021කට සාපේක්ෂව 2022. දැන් මේ කාරණාව පිළිබඳව අපි කිව යුතුයි අපි ආණ්ඩු කරපු කාල සීමාව ඔබතුමාත් අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයේ හිටියා. ඒකෙන් ණය අඩුවීමේ ප්‍රතිශතයක් පෙන්වනවා. සුළු ගානකින්වත් යම් විදේශ ණය ඒ වගේම රජයට තිබුණු ණය පියවන ආකාරයට කටයුතු කරන තත්ත්වයක් තිබුණා. දැන් 2022 වෙනකොට බිලියන 35000කින් ඒක වැඩිවීමක් පෙන්වුම් කරනවා. ඒක තාම අවදානම් තත්ත්වයක්. ඒත් එක්කම එතුමා this is from Parliament Research Division. They given, I'll send you the copy, you can reply. With that, I would like to deal with these issues of now the IMF restructuring arrangements have for the first time also are trying to have a pilot project with Sri Lanka as a test case. They have declared that they will do a country-specific governance diagnostic review. One of the important elements of that is looking at the corruption vulnerabilities in the affected countries. So we have, of course, passed an anti-corruption law. But then corruption is not purely corruption alone. Inefficiency also has to be taken into account, adding to the burdens of the country. Now if you look at, in fact, at the Committee on Public Finance today, your secretary also came, I raised certain issues. Issue concerning I raised the issue concerning the KK's harbour. KK's harbour, though the Indian credit line is available, some $47 million money is available, land acquisitions have not been done. For the last 4 years, this thing has been dragging on.
Honourable Minister.
No, you can answer, Mr. Minister, my limited time.
No. I must reply then there. That is wrong. Indian government has committed $45 million
yes,
for the KK's harbour. Then we have called for
take it from his time.
We have appointed Indian consultant to whom we have paid, and he has prepared all the plans. But the Exim Bank of India has not yet given concurrence for the project.
No, that's a different matter. Now, Exim Bank issue is there. I agree. I agree. Exim Bank with the
and therefore, with our money, we have done the buildings, etc. But for the breakwater and dredging, we are awaiting the money. We are awaiting
that's fine. That's fine, Mr. Minister. But the question is on under Auditor General's report. I'm reading from Auditor General's report where he finds fault with the inefficiency in preparing the necessary land area for acquisition. You see, these are the issues. Now, I'll send you the report.
Minister.
You can reply when you look at it. Then the other thing is the JCT. Now, there, Honourable Mahindananda Arugambe spoke about the new terminals that are being built, North and West terminals, right? There is one by the SLPA itself, the other by the Indians, the Adani Group. Now, as far as our own JCT, now to extend the length beyond the current dimensions, that is 600 meter length, you see, unless you do that, you can't at the same time handle two vessels of at least beyond 330 meters length. So therefore, there again, cabinet paper was prepared to extend by 120 meters the length. so that you can have side by side two vessels. But that also from now and also to increase the draft also by 15 meters. Almost 5,000 million was allocated for that. Cabinet paper was passed. The notice of commencement of work was to be done within 7 days from the date of the contract. But notice was issued after lapse of 2 years on the 23rd November 2020. Then it was expected to be completed by 23rd July 22. But I don't know, the progress was very slow by last year. I don't know what the situation today. You can reply. Mr. Minister, you keep on interjecting, then I will not be able to finish my speech. So you are free to reply this. So these issues had to be, these are inefficiencies in the conduct of affairs. In the meantime, now you are seeking to amend the Act in order to expand the Ports Authority Director Board. There, your justification for that is that the ministry doesn't have representation. Now, I myself have been a minister of this Sri Lanka Ports shipping. I had been the minister in the past. You see, Sri Lanka Ports Authority Bill gives the minister extensive powers. These are drafted by late Athulat Mudali, right? So this issue of trying to add somebody from the ministry, these are all just excuses to have more control in the board. But that is not going to help you always. The secretary can always call for review meetings all the time, project review meetings. He can have total control what is happening in the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. You don't have to go and sit in the board of directors to be guiding it. After all, you have the right to appoint 5 people, including the chairman. Now, what in fact you want to perhaps do is to have total control in the board and majority. Right? So that is not the way to go about. Because if you want to control Sri Lanka Ports Authority, you can very well do it with the secretary calling for review meetings and then supervising the affairs of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority. You have absolute power. You see, this is one of those pieces of legislation where minister is vested with so much of power. So a conscientious minister, if he wants to have his way, he need not to expand the board of directors and have a ministry representative put there. Certainly, he can have all the control without it. So therefore, I do not know for what reason that you want the board expanded. But anyway, I am just pointing it out for this reason. The other thing is now you are on the shipping sector. You are trying to ship agents legislation. You have this issue. Now Sri Lanka visin නැව නියෝජිත සමාගම් වල විදේශ කොටස් හිමිකරුවන්ට 140කුත් ඒවයි කොටස් ආයෝජනය සඳහා අවස්ථාව ලබා දී ඇති අතර 60කට නොඅඩු ප්‍රමාණය ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රවාසීන්ට අයත් වන වගකීමක් තියෙන බව අපි කවුරුත් පිළිගන්නවා. This has been there throughout. You had allowed this sector to be available for the locals so that foreign companies do not come and take over the shipping services sector. So that is an accepted principle. But you are giving an excuse saying that since Maldives have declared 100% ownership for locals, that the Sri Lankans have been disadvantaged. Therefore, in order to teach them a lesson, that you are now bringing in this legislation. That's how it has been worded, right? As if it, but in the meantime, you are also putting in there, now you say, එම විදේශීය රටෙහි නීතිය මගින් ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ පුරවැසියන්ට එම රටෙහි සංස්ථාගත කළ හෝ ලියාපදිංචි කළ රජයේ හෝ පෞද්ගලික සමාගමක කොටස් හිමිකාරීත්වයේ දැරීම තහනම් කරනු ලබන අවස්ථාවකදී මෙම අනුශේධය යටතේ කිසිදු රජයේ හෝ පෞද්ගලික සමාගම බලපත්‍රය ලැබීම සඳහා සුදුසුකම් නොලැබිය යුතුය. This is the way in which you are trying to prevent that happening, so that you want to prevent the Maldivians from coming and owning even the open for sale. Okay, but then you are also putting එසේ වූවද ජාතික අභිවෘද්ධිය සහ ව්‍යතිරේක කරුණු සලකා බලා අමාත්‍යවරයාට මෙම අවශ්‍යතාවය අත්හරිනු ලැබිය හැකිය. Now the whole thing, you are also having a discussion. Now the whole purpose is, in my opinion, very, very superficial. In my opinion, if you are going to have this, you are giving by one, you are taking by one hand, giving by another. So you are retaining the discretion. No, retaining such discretion is going to lead to corruption. In my opinion, these things.
Honourable Member, you have 1 more minute.
So you need not have such arrangements, because we are now facing a serious problem with the IMF regulations and IMF conditions, particularly about the anti-corruption issues. We must, wherever possible in new legislation, we must not allow the executive to come and poke their hand into everything, giving too much discretion to the executive on these matters should be prevented. You must limit the discretion. That should be the way to go about. So, whereas this is the other way about. That is why we thought we should...
Honourable Member, please wind up.
Yes, I will wind up, Mr. Deputy Chairman of the Committee, just with one particular comment. Now, about this to set up the necessary facilities for landing seacraft. In the list that is there, Arugambe is not included. Arugambe has been, in the past, there had been seaplanes landing there. Pottuvil is an important tourist destination. That must be done. And together with that, I have also raised this issue in the Committee on Public Finance, where your secretary came, issue related to the Batticaloa airport. To make it, you have already declared it as an international airport, but there is an issue related to the runway. So that the runway extension, whatever facilities available, has to be undertaken. And that, how we have done in Palali, to also try and improve the runway in Batticaloa and make international flights available to Batticaloa. Thank you very much.
Thank you.